Hey everybody, what's up? It's Frosty Osty0232 here with another Frosty Features. Today we are going to talk about the new character coming to MSF, Dazzler. So what Frosty Features is a bit of a comic book background on the character that is coming to MSF with through the lens of MSF. So yeah, we're gonna just go ahead and get started. I will say also, be sure to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Here we go. Dazzler. Yes, I picked the best picture ever. I spent a lot of time photoshopping it. Name, Allison Blair, often referred to as Allie. First appearance, X-Men 130 back in 1979. For those of you who are curious, the year it currently is 2022, which means Dazzler has been in a crap ton of comics. She is one of the X-Men that have been around for a very long time. Therefore, there's an awful lot of content about her. So I will be hitting some of the points that I found most interesting or bigger. There's an awful lot more about Dazzler than what I'm going to cover. Let me know some of your favorite Dazzler things in the comments. Powers and abilities, sound conversion, and resurrection. Okay, so sound conversion. What happens to her is a very important point as well. She can take other sounds and convert them into different forms of light, or she can redirect them in different forms of sound waves. So she can make like lasers and attack people, or she can make concussive blasts out of light, or make concussive sound waves. Also resurrection. I don't know if, and I don't know if this was included in her kit, but canonically in comics, she comes back to life and doesn't know why. So to this day, at least to my knowledge, no one knows why she comes back. And the mutants at this point have solved resurrection. They can bring people back to life. But even before that, Dazzler would just randomly come back to life. She did it, I think, 4 or 5 times. Before they started just bringing everybody back, and it was pointed out in it's not like, oh, I'm alive now, whatever, or maybe it was a demon, or I was never dead. It legitimately was, I was dead but now I'm not. So she does sort of have a power of resurrection. Aliases, various. So she's sort of a rock star type. She's a famous person, and she goes by different names, but namely it's something akin to Dazzler, Daz, Agent Allison, Agent Dazzler, Agent Daz, something akin to that. So she has a few different aliases, but they all sort of line up with that one theme of Dazzler, or her actual name. Affiliations, Lightbringer, that is her band that she plays with. Her whole thing is that she's a singer. We'll talk about that quite a bit moving forward, but her band currently is Lightbringer. She's been a part of the X-Men, the A-Force, various bands, and Excalibur. She has been in and out of a lot of different bands for a lot of different reasons, but Lightbringer is kind of her main one now, that they push for genetic equality. Yeah. Background, she was born on Long Island. She was a New Yorker. Who died? Her and her father. So she was born to her parents. Her mother she was born to her parents. Good stuff. Her mother and her dad. So her dad was a really uptight, real strict, this is how it goes, this is how you're going to be lawyer. And her mother was sort of a free spirit, creative, artistic situation. And her mother kind of getting tired of, it's sort of framed that way and then it changes. But her mother had a lot of problems, and she left Allison, Dazzler, with her dad, who kind of was like, well, you're not going to grow up to be your mother, you're going to grow up to be a lawyer, you're going to do this, and this. And Dazzler started to rebel because she's a creative singing rebel, and so she kind of had a really kind of tense relationship with her father, and kind of pushed away from him. And then as her mutant abilities started to so when her mutant abilities started to manifest, she started to America, fuck yeah. She started to kind of push her father away more, right? And another point that I just realized I didn't say earlier, one of her big things about her sound conversion is sound that comes from her she cannot alter. So that's why she always uses like a microphone. She has to use sound from elsewhere. So if she sings and it comes out of an amplifier, she can use that. But if she is screaming, she can't do anything with that. Random point about her that came up after her mutant powers kind of manifested. Joining the X-Men, she wasn't enthused. She really wants to focus on being a singer. That's her main thing, is she wants to be a singer, and she always gets pulled into being a hero, but she wants to just do the music thing. So when she sings, she uses her powers to make kind of a light show, making her a very great act to watch. She's very popular in various versions of her bands and solo stuff and whatever. But she often will have to. There's many situations where she declines to join the X-Men, and then somebody dies, or she's being hunted by somebody or whatever, and she needs protection, and she ends up having to join the X-Men just so that she has some sort of team, some sort of protection around her. Talented scout, sort of. So on top of this, the first time the X-Men kind of approached her, she was doing her shows, which included the light show, but she marketed her shows, she marketed her talent as there being a technological secret to the light shows, right? But mutants that saw her show could see right through that. So the X-Men approached her, trying to scout her to become part of the X-Men. She was like, hell nah, fam, I don't want to do that. And then the Hellions were like, the Hellfire Club, not the Hellions. The Hellfire Club was like, well, you're going to be a part of the Hellfire Club. You don't have a choice. So they attacked. The X-Men helped her, and that's how she first kind of got involved with the X-Men, was them trying to save her from the Hellfire Club. So yeah, once again, not enthused to be a part of the X-Men. She just kind of always had to be. Fate seems to drag her back and forth an awful lot. So her relationships, Bella Blair is her grandmother. So her grandmother, being her father's mom, was more of a creative than her father, and when she had her contentious relationship with her father, she confided a lot in her grandmother. Carter and Catherine Blair are her parents. So Carter being the lawyer, Catherine, who also went by Bella London. Catherine being her artistic mother, who kind of left. Also apparently was like a really bad addicted to drugs. She ended up getting married to a guy named Nick and having a daughter named Lois London off of her alter ego. Her excuse me, my throat is like all over the place. So yeah, Lois London being her sister, who's also a mutant, who can drain the life out of people and pull apart non-inorganic things, can just like dissipate them. So yeah, and then Longshot, who we have in Marvel Strike Force, is her husband, and we're gonna get really convoluted here in a second in referring to this, but Longshot in Marvel Strike Force, part of the X-Force, or X-Factor, sorry, part of the X-Factor, is her husband, and then Gavidra 7 is her son. So her and Longshot's son, and we're gonna talk about that right now. So her baby father-in-law. So Gavidra 7 is Shatterstar. So this is crazy. So Shatterstar is from Mojo World, right? So there's many points where the X-Men go and they fight in Mojo World. So at a point, Longshot and Dazzler were together, and obviously they're married or whatever. They get pregnant and they're gonna have a baby, go to the Mojo World, reality warps, things flip, whatever, and Dazzler's convinced she lost her baby, only to find out later that her baby was birthed in Mojo World and taken from her and raised to be Shatterstar. But also Shatterstar is a time paradox. Shatterstar and Longshot's relationship, father-son, is a time paradox. Because, and I didn't know this, I always got them sort of confused, Shatterstar and Longshot, and now I know why. So the time paradox is thus, right? So Mojo World happens at different timelines, and then obviously there's a whole bunch of different ways to go back in time in the Marvel Universe, whatever. So Dazzler and Longshot have a baby. That's Shatterstar. Shatterstar, as an adult, shows up, and he's the one that takes the baby, and he brings the baby to the past to grow up, and then eventually Shatterstar is Longshot's father. So Longshot is Shatterstar's father, and Shatterstar is Longshot's father. But Shatterstar has to intervene on that timeline to make sure that time paradox doesn't mess anything up. So Shatterstar actually kidnaps himself as a baby so that Shatterstar can grow up beforehand and sire Longshot. Therefore, her baby father-in-law, Dazzler's baby father-in-law. That's it. I just thought that was really interesting. Death and the A-Force. So the A-Force was fighting, so the A-Force, they were fighting in an intergalactic kind of situation. They were fighting out in the space, and I'm having a moment. They were fighting in space, put on spacesuits, whatever, and they go out and they're fighting, and Dazzler gets blown up, and everybody gets their asses kicked. This includes She-Hulk, Nico, Minoru, but they all get their asses kicked, and Dazzler's dead. Like, she gets you can kind of see it in the picture, she gets hard blown up, and everyone's like, oh no, and they get discouraged, and they kind of disband, and they let the situation go, and then they end up regrouping and going to the blue side of the moon to go and essentially get revenge. It's, trying to make up for it and stop the bad guy. And so they go to the blue side of the moon, and they're fighting, and they are getting their butts kicked. And then Allison shows up again. Dazzler shows up randomly and essentially secures their victory, saves all their butts, gets them out of there, whatever. And they're like, oh, so this is essentially where the resurrection thing comes in canon. But they're like, how did you come back? And she said, she's like, I don't know, I just did. Right? So that's actually, as far as I know, that's the last time that was brought up. But she points out that that had happened to her 4 times before. So that is kind of affiliation for her and the A-Force, which obviously upcoming team in Marvel Strike Force, and also her resurrection power. So I thought it was kind of cool. All right, so power scaling. So Marvel Strike Force doesn't really power scale characters, but for the sake of argument, I do. So this is how my power scaling system works. Multiversal means you are a threat to all of reality, right? So it doesn't matter what universe you are in. It doesn't matter how far removed you are from some other person. If somebody has at a multiversal power level, they have the ability to take out reality as everyone knows it. Universal, that means you are a threat to one universe at a time. You could take out yours probably, and then maybe hop over to the next one and take that one out. That's totally a thing. Cosmic, so we get a little bit more specific as from Cosmic here on down. So Cosmic is you are a galactic threat. You can take out galaxies or down to a planet at a time, because if you take out a planet with a little determination, you could probably go around and take out more. So that's a cosmic threat. Nuclear is on the high end. You can take out a large city or a small country. Big punch kind of situation. City power level is sort of the most common power level. This is most commonly going to be like a Spider-Man, a Daredevil, something like that. So ultimately, with a lot of determination, you could probably take out a building, take out a couple walls, take out a building. You are superhuman, but you kind of are at more of a base level. Yeah, and then Greg. Greg is the undead Asgardian that Hela spawns as a minion in Marvel Strike Force. If I had a dull hatchet with butterfly wings and a lot of determination, I could probably kill Greg. So for the sake of argument in this, Greg is going to be regular human level. I recognize that he's an undead Asgardian and that skews, but for the sake of argument, right here, Greg is a human level. Dazzler, on the other hand, is not at a human level, and Dazzler is a little bit more complicated than a lot of the other characters that have been featured on Frosty Features. Okay, so Dazzler's power is, we've talked about it a lot. Dazzler's power is taking that sound and kind of reusing it, right? Which gives her different levels. So different amounts of sound can give her different amounts of power. So her power level varies greatly depending on who she's fighting, right? So she can be a very valuable asset depending on how strong the opponent is, right? And what their powers are. On her own, fighting maybe fighting somebody that isn't as powerful or doesn't make as essentially loud of sounds, she's probably at a city level. She can't do that much, but she has the potential to. So in the event that she's fighting somebody much bigger, the most notable kind of power scale I could think of is she can redirect Black Bolt's sound wave. So if Black Bolt speaks, she can redirect how it's used, and she can put out a concussive force or a laser or something that has the power similar to Black Bolt's, and Black Bolt's voice has the power to destroy planets, right? So on a regular level, Dazzler is just good enough to be a superhero, essentially, like right above that like right at that city level. But if she's accompanied by somebody like Black Bolt, or notably she did something similar with Galactus, where Galactus kind of charged her up so that she could go through a black hole, which takes a crap ton of power. She is a city level hero, but she has the potential to be a cosmic level hero. So that's Frosty Features Dazzler. What did I miss? Did I get anything wrong? Let me know down in the comics. Be sure to like comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. Also, I stream on Twitch starting at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here. Also, I'll have a Discord. I have a Discord link in the description. Come check it out, hang out. We have a lot of fun in there. Yeah, let me know what you like, what you didn't like. It's all good with me, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging around for Frosty Features Dazzler, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and most importantly, stay cool.